Hello, my name is Gilbert Ambler. I'm a criminal defense and firearms attorney. I'm a program attorney for U.S. Law Shield of Virginia, and I'm the owner of Ambler Law Offices. Today, I'm here at New American Arms in Richmond to discuss what you should do if you are involved in a critical incident. And when we're talking about a critical incident, we're discussing a self-defense incident, a situation where you had to draw the firearm or even where you had to discharge a firearm, okay? And if you had to discharge a firearm in self-defense, this whole situation will have gone from 0 to 100 very, very quickly. This is now a very, very volatile situation because although you may have some defenses, okay, the defenses you may have revolve around either a justification defense or an excusable self-defense here in Virginia. Although you might have these defenses available, these defenses are typically used at trial. So if you discharge the firearm, you can be arrested in Virginia. They can arrest you at this point. Now, if you are under investigation for anything, including a shooting, including drawing a firearm, it's not just me saying this, it's every single criminal defense attorney I know has the same advice. Do not make statements. Okay, you are not going to be able to help yourself by talking to law enforcement in that situation. You don't know what law enforcement are thinking. You don't know if they're pro-gun or anti-gun. You don't know what other callers have told them. You don't know what preconceived notions they're showing up with. And if you try to explain yourself, what you are going to do is you are going to give them evidence that can be used against you. For various reasons, the rules of evidence often prohibit anything that you say that is helpful from actually being used in court down the road. But they absolutely will allow things you say that are harmful to come into play down the road. All right? So for this reason, you should not make statements. You should talk to an attorney. You need to call a lawyer in this situation. A lawyer can help you figure out what you should be saying and what you should not be saying, because if you talk, you are liable to talk your way into trouble. One of the things that has always amazed me over the years is that police officers will Mirandize somebody, right? They will read them. Their Miranda warnings comes from a Supreme Court case where the Supreme Court decided that law enforcement had to issue specific warnings to someone who they were taking into a custodial interrogation, okay? What amazes me is that one of those Miranda warnings is the warning that what you say can and will be used against you. They don't say what you say can and will be used for you or to help you. They say what you say can and will be used against you. And yet people listen to these warnings and then sit down and talk to the police. They sit down and tell the police everything they know. Come on, guys. This is going to be used against you. Keep your mouth shut. Now, I am not saying that law enforcement that are present at the scene should never find out about what happened. If it was self-defense, if you had a good reason to do what you did, eventually we're going to explain that to law enforcement. The difference is I don't want you trying to explain it, because if you try to explain it, it can be used against you. If a lawyer explains it, if your counsel explains it, then what counsel says will not be used against you. Critical difference here. Law enforcement's still finding out what happened. They're just finding out through the lawyer explaining it, not through you explaining it, okay? This is very, very important. Now, this is a very brief overview of some of the reasons why you should not make statements to law enforcement after a self-defense incident. I told you at the beginning of this video that I represent members of U.S. Law Shield here in Virginia. We teach 2 to 2.5 hour seminars on the justified use of deadly force, both the law on when you can and cannot use deadly force here in Virginia, but we also devote a lot of time to discussing how to handle interactions with law enforcement after a critical incident. What should you be saying on a 911 call? What should you be leaving out of a 911 call? In what situation should you call 911? How do you invoke your rights when law enforcement show up? These are all things that we discuss at these seminars. If you go to gunlawseminar.com or if you go to U.S. Law Shield's website, you are able to filter down the events to find upcoming events near you. We regularly host these events here at New American Arms in Richmond, Virginia. I hope to see you out at one of these events in the future so that we can talk through and spend our time going over all of these very, very important concepts that very well could make the difference between you spending life behind bars and you staying out of prison because you had a valid defense. Keep that in mind. I encourage people to carry a firearm. I encourage you to be responsible gun owners. Part of being a responsible gun owner is getting the legal training that is involved so that you understand how to handle these very dangerous and very volatile situations.